Today would be lesson 21 in a series of instructional videos for Master Kuo Lien Ying's original Guang Ping Taiji form. And today we will begin the ending section. Again, Master Kuo did not break up the form into various sections. I just found after many years of teaching that it was easier to break it up into these various sections to help the student remember where they were in the form instead of just kind of going through it consecutively. And also, my methodology of teaching is to emphasize being able to practice one section at a time so that you can practice on the elements that you need to work on rather than just starting from the beginning. And then normally, if you kind of do the whole form a few times, you've only practiced the moves a few times in that practice, whereas maybe you need to work more on a particular move or a particular part of the section. Before we go into what I call the ending section, and also I like to think of it, have another name for it called the fist section, striking fist, because in this section it contains many of the fist movements, like downward fist and strike, shoot tiger with bow, through Sky Canon, and so in this section we have lots of striking. But before I go into the teaching the first moves of this section, I want to describe the sequence and how this section is laid out. In the first section, it was easy to remember the direction because you basically went back and forth in lines. And then in the repeat section, there was a little bit more diagonal, but in the repeat section, you learn that as a section so that you could repeat it later on. And that was just the last section that we completed. After Golden Cock stands on one leg, we did the repeat section into fan through arm, and that's where we ended. In the diagonal section, it was a little bit more complicated in the direction because you had lots of kind of crisscrossing in the format of your workout area. In this last section, it's much simpler because now again you're going back between 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock on the parallel line. And so, and how it's laid out is the movement section of um, single whip and then wave hand like clouds and single whip is repeated throughout this section as a kind of a linking move. And also grass bird tail is repeated, and there's certain kind of like a transitional moves that are going to be repeated in this section. So the main elements of the moves that we're going to learn are going to be at the end of these section of single whip, wave hand like clouds, and single whip. So that's going to allow you to do more wave hand like clouds. For example, in the last section where you had to go do wave hand like clouds and then single whip and then golden cock stands on one leg and then repulse monkey, you were limited in the amount that you do. Again, there's no set amount of uh, single whip, wave hand like clouds. You can even just do one if you're in a small area. You can do as many as you like to fulfill the area. But the main point in this particular section is you're going to do the main moves at the end, and then you're going to turn around and come back and do the main moves on the other end. This will become more apparent as I demonstrate the ending section. So let's begin with the section, and I think for this section, I think I'll start off by demonstrating the complete ending section, and then you can kind of see what it looks like, and then we'll go into learning today the first movement, which would be the series of deflect, push, strike opponent's ears with fists, and then through Sky Canon. So So I'm going to perform the entire last section and name the moves so that you can see what the last section looks like. Again, we're only going to learn the first moves in this lesson. I want to perform it so you can see both where you have to go and how the last section is laid out. Again, it goes from 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock with the main moves on the end of each of those lines. So we'll start from fan through the arm. Okay, gonna ward off to the left and push. Strike opponent's ears with fists and through Sky Canon. And then turn back, transition to single whip. Wave hand like clouds. So this section of single whip and wave hand like clouds will be repeated a few times in this section. Transition to the last single whip. Okay, this is a repeat of high pat on horse. And then step out, cross wave of water lily. And then strike down, fist down. Step up, grass bird's tail, step up, single whip, wave hand like clouds, and single whip section. Single whip down. Step up to form 7 stars. Retreat to ride tiger. Slanting body, turn the moon. And this is a cross the wave of the water lily. Kick again. Shoot tiger with bow. Step up. Grass bird's tail. This is the third variation where you don't step forward or back. And then grass bird's tail on the left side. And then conclusion of the grand terminus. And there you have it. You have the last section that we'll be working on for the next few lessons. Thank you. So you can see from that demonstration how each of the moves was at the end of this line, and then we use single whip and wave hand like clouds to get back to the other end. And then at the end, there was a little bit of variation on that theme as we did the through Sky Canon and then ride a horse and then turn around, shoot tiger with bow. So that's going to be the layout. So it's going to be pretty simple in terms of direction. So let's learn that first series coming out of fan through arm. So in the last lesson, we ended, after the repeat section, we ended up with the second fan through the arm. And so instead of going into green dragon romping water, you're going to go into this next little segment of 4 moves. So it goes from fan through arm here, and it comes into like a sideways ward off deflect, and then into a push, and then strike opponent's ears with this, and then come back to through Sky Canon. So we'll go over the particulars of each of those and then transitions. From fan through the arm, you're going to be in the horse with the TL stance, like this. From here, you're going to want to pivot on your heel to open up a little bit. So as you do the step through, you don't have to adjust this foot. So the first thing from here is to pivot on the foot, and you can do it simultaneously as you do the step forward. The step forward is fairly erect. Doesn't have to be from the low horse into the same height. From here, you actually want to rise as you do the deflect here. In the deflect, the hands are going to be in line with the shoulders, pushing over here. And it doesn't have to be perfectly vertical, but it wants to be mostly vertical. It doesn't want to be like as far as more than 45 when you do the deflect. Here, fan through arm. And this one just drops low with elbow as you come here. And both elbows are kind of low here. And then from fan through arm, pivot the foot and step. So also facing the camera from here, the arms and body rotate as one unit. For a little bit more advanced practitioners, there's a little bit of variance in the way that the body moves and going across. But in the basic structure, you're just going to go with a pivot across. And again, these end up past your center line. Not the center line, but past center line. So take it one more time from fan through the arm, pivot the foot, and come across. You're on your toe, heel is off the ground here. From here, you can just step forward and push forward like that. Again, I'm teaching both beginners who've never done the form before, and I'm teaching advanced practitioners who've done the form many times and looking for other ways to enhance their own knowledge. So I'm going to keep it fairly basic, but I will throw in some information about the timing here. So again, the basic move is just warding off, deflecting to the side, and then just stepping forward with a follow step. So as you're stepping forward, this foot comes right behind and it's a little bit on the heel. For people familiar with the Xing Yi, it's very much like the follow step in Xing Yi. So from fan through arm, the sideways deflect, and then the push forward. For more advanced practitioners, I want to point out a couple of things. From here, you notice that this hand doesn't drop back to here for the push, but the hand does drop back because I'm in the middle of the step when I come forward. And this hand kind of loops and pushes. So if you watch this right hand, it kind of looks like it's coming back to the body and out, but I'm stepping forward. So this hand basically stays in place as I'm stepping forward. One of the reasons for that is I don't want to release that tension of the contact as I get into the push. I want to like absorb and push without releasing and allowing the opponent to come in. Kind of like a spring energy in Wing Chun. So that's the reason why I do it that way. You might find your own way, and for the beginner, it's just simple enough to do the deflect and the push. That's fine, but I like to kind of, from time to time, point out little nuances that I found for myself that I like to adhere to, like the principles of good kung fu practice. So from here, also, the step is the time that you gather that energy for the power for the push. And of course, the power of the push comes from the step. Here, the stepping forward, the gathering, and then the push. So these are just little nuances that will help you. Also, if you're just practicing the singular move, then it's possible to practice just by repeating until you feel where that timing and power. So going from fan to arm, it's kind of a rhythm that you discover the more you progress in your Tai Chi. But again, going back to just teaching the basic of the form, it's more simple. Here, deflect to the side and push forward. In the next one, you're going to, this one is called strike opponent's ears with fists. And you're going to come around and you're striking with this part of your fist. Also, I guess you could strike with the inner knuckles as well. Here. So from fan to arm. So it's going to be 4 moves in the series. The deflect, the push, and then strike opponent's ears with fists. And the stepping, if you notice, is exactly the same. So from the fan to arm, is that upright on the toe? And then from here, you're going to do the follow step. And then again, take another step as you do the strike opponent's ears with fists. Like that. So that's 3 of the moves, right? Fan through the arm, the sideways deflect, push, strike opponent's ears with fists. And then one more, you're going to come back around like this. And as you do that, with the step. So let me do it in this direction so you can see more clear too. From fan through the arm, deflecting to the side, push, strike opponent's ears with fists, and then through Sky Canon. That. In through Sky Canon, the fist is, left fist is lower than the right, and it's kind of right by your forearm, but they're in line like this, like that. So I'll do it in this direction again, all 4. Fan through the arm, the deflect, push, strike opponent's ears with fists, and then through Sky Canon. So those are the 4 basic moves. Again, if you watch how I like to do it, so you learn a certain rhythm that you find, like to call it the power circuit. It's where you can find that you can generate the most emphasis of your spirit and energy. And for the more advanced practitioners, this is the key to these 4 moves, finding that flow that works for you in presenting those moves. In the video where I do the Guang Ping Tai Chi on the 4x6 mat, of course I had to alter it because I didn't have the space to do the forward stepping of that thing. But I took that practice that I showed you where you can just kind of like step back and forth and utilize that in that small space. So I went back and forth. And so if you're in a small room, you can actually practice these four moves exactly the same way. From here, stepping forward, and then kind of like stepping back for strike opponent's ears with this, step back, and you can kind of find that rhythm yourself in the way that you're stepping. And you'll find that through just your own practice. So one more time, I'm going to describe these moves as the basic moves from fan through the arm, then to pivot, deflect to the left, keep that elbow low, not high like that. And then push forward as you step forward and follow step. Then strike opponent's ears with fists as you circle. And then one more time, come in. So after you strike opponent's ears with fists, you're going to circle in and then strike forward. So this is as if the opponent is pushing your hands out and you're circling around his hands on the inside and coming through to the inside of his hands. So these two work together, the fists, and then circle in like that. You also notice that instead of the kind of the way that the hand changes, this is more for, if you're just a beginner, it's okay to do it like this. Because you're just learning the moves. But again, transferring my own personal understanding for advanced practitioners, the way that you change and flow is all part of that growth of understanding. And instead of like moving with kind of this basic movement, changing the way that your hands flow around somebody else's body is all part of that learning process. So from here, that contact into that movement is expressed with just that little nuances of the way that the hand and elbow break here, from here, just that, and then also that gathering of energy as you getting ready to do the step. So you're kind of penetrating through like that. So that's some of the things that you, as an advanced practitioner, can experiment with. The way that you perform it, your Taiji, can be different at different times. Again, depending on your expression and your understanding. And those are the two elements that separate you from a beginner, is the way that you will express your understanding of those movements. And express that power by the way that you move. And so these little expressions of changing the nuance and the timing are the ways that you do that. So, okay, so then after, again, the movements are at the end, and then you're going to repeat single whip, cloud hands, and single whip to get back to the next move. So let's go ahead and throw that in because you already know that section, so there's no need to wait till the next lesson to throw that in. But so from fan through the arm, and then you're going to do the side deflect, push forward, strike opponent's ears with fists, then through Sky Canon. From here, it's a simple turn the foot forward to facing front, and then changing into the transition for a single whip, and then single whip. Go back to wave hand like clouds. And you're going to want to do as many wave hand like clouds so that you end up in the furthest side of your working space. Because then you change to high pattern horse and crossing the water lily and then strike down. We're not going to learn that move today. I'm just telling you in the spatial quality of your workout space, you want to be in the N over here when you do here and then change, then you can go back in the other direction. Okay, so one more time and then we'll conclude with that. So again, from fan to arm here. So again, you have to have when you do your fan through the arm after you do the repeat section, you're going to want to end up further far over here so that you have the room for the 4 moves. If you end up way over here when fan to arm here, then you're not going to have enough room, then you're going to have to maybe resort to changing that footwork like I did, just showed you in doing the Guang Ping on the 4x6 mat. So again, from fan through the arm, the deflect, the push, strike opponent's ears with fist, and then through Sky Canon. From here, the transition, turn that foot straight, right hand goes out, relax, left is facing your shoulder, step out into single whip, come back for wave hand like clouds, open on the right, close on the left. And over to the right for another single whip. So we'll end the lesson on this last single whip. Okay, thank you for watching and look forward to the next lesson. Thank you.